how to get the most out of your coursework. You may not know. I mean, one question I get from students is like, well, how do I know what to take or what I need to take here at Carroll? Well, what happens is you have a contract with the university as far as the requirements for getting your degree, for majoring, etc. And your contract that you make with the university, and that contract goes both ways. The university has to follow that contract as well, is the undergraduate bulletin, okay, that you came into John Carroll with your incoming class. Now, the undergraduate bulletin, every couple of years, we just had our most recent, this year is the first of a 2-year cycle. All the requirements for the core curriculum that you need to get a bachelor's degree from here are listed in the bulletin. And what you're held to is the bulletin that was in place when you entered the university. So for example, 5 or 6 years ago, you need 128 credits to graduate. We updated that to 120. All of you are going to need 120 to graduate because that's what's in place when you enter the university. So that's your core requirements based on whatever bulletin is in place when you start at JCU. Now, for major and minor requirements, that's going to vary. It used to be that whatever the bulletin was in place when you declared your major was the requirements you had to follow. But starting this year, for anyone in this incoming class moving forward, the requirements for your major are going to be whatever was in place when you entered the university, not when you declared your major. So if you're a freshman, your major requirements are going to be based on this bulletin. If you're a sophomore or higher, your requirements are based on whatever the bulletin is when you declared, okay, for your major. So consult this book frequently as your contract, okay? It's how this is, if there's ever a disagreement with you and an administrator or an advisor, this book is the law, the rule of law, basically. This is what you go to. So consult it frequently. In terms of the core curriculum, you need 120 credit hours to graduate. This averages out over the course of 8 semesters to 15 credits per semester. The core, there's this core worksheet here that can help you keep track of where you're at with the core. This is in the Google Drive as a PDF file. It works out to the core is about 49 credits. So you need 120 credits to graduate. About 49 of those are going to be taken up by the core. Now the nice thing is you can double dip for core and major requirements. So you can use a course both for the core as well as for your major. So for example, one of the requirements is a quantitative analysis course, okay? If you're a psychology major, you'll have to take elementary statistics. You need that not only for your major, but also for the core requirements. And the same thing holds for minors. Like let's say you want to pick up a philosophy minor. A philosophy minor is 18 credits, okay? But these 2 philosophy courses that you take for the core, those 6 credits can count towards the minors, so all you have to do above and beyond that is 12 to get a minor in philosophy because you can double dip across major and minor requirements. You cannot double dip your core courses, okay? So in other words, you couldn't have a course count for philosophy and while also counting for issues in social justice. You can't double dip across core courses. Good resources and academic advising. This academic advising website that I would point you to. I mean, these are all the different policies, you know, how to take a course overload if you want to take more than 18 credit hours, how to get forced into a class or get on the wait list, how to add or drop a course, all right? Leave of absences, different deadlines, repeating a course. So you could repeat a course and then you would get the grade. You wouldn't get double credit, but you would get the grade that goes with the second time you took it. That would go against your GPA, not the first grade, which presumably wouldn't be very good. Otherwise, you wouldn't repeat it. Yeah, there's a bunch of different resources here that I would check out. If you ever have any questions, go to this website. Now the psychology major is 42 credit hours. This is 39 credits in psychology, plus this 3 in the second statistics course. Those are courses that basically you have to take and will only count towards your major, 42 credits. And you need 128 hours to graduate. So if we do the math here, you need 120 hours to graduate. That's the minimum. 42 are going to go towards your major. 49 are going to go to the core. That leaves 29 hours. 29 credit hours to do with whatever you want, exploring your interests, picking up majors or minors that are relevant to your career interests and aspirations. Now, 120 is what you have to have to graduate. That's the minimum. The maximum credit hours that you could take, if you did 18 per semester, is 144. Okay, that's 18 times 8. Now, if you take that as a starting point, we have our 42 hours for a major, 49 hours for the core. That leaves 53 hours potentially that you could put towards another minor, another major, if you were to do the full load every semester. So what this means is that after you take into account your core courses and your major courses, you're going to have anywhere from 29 to 53 credit hours to work with for minors, double majors, etc. You can also double dip, right, some of your courses across majors, across the core and your major or minor. And this doesn't even count transfer credits, right? So a lot of you have come in with transfer credits already. So some of you are in a really good position to take some additional minors or majors that are relevant to your career and your interests. Questions, thoughts? In terms of the psychology major, we have a general psychology major and then 5 possible concentrations. So the general, the difference between these two, so we have the general major, that's no specialization, no concentration, that's 42 credits. And then we have forensic psychology, child and family studies, mental health services, and industrial organizational psychology. So the concentrations are going to have slightly different coursework with a focus on these different areas. That's one difference. The other difference is these 4 here, forensic, child, mental health, and industrial organizational, you also have to do a 1-year practicum to qualify for those concentrations. So that's it's actually really good because it's a practical experience that you could put on your resume when you actually apply for your job. Neuroscience is an interdisciplinary concentration that goes with chemistry and biology. So it's psychology, chemistry, and biology. People in interdisciplinary neuroscience major in one of those 3. And if you major in psychology and you're in neuroscience, it's 83 credit hours. It's a very bulky way to go because you have to not only take psych courses, but also the biology and also the chemistry. So there's not a lot of wiggle room if you're in neuroscience for another major for sure. And it'd also be tough to get minors fit in there. There's also 3 minors in psychology. If you end up majoring in something else, we have a general minor, a forensic psychology minor, and a human diversity minor. Those are all 18 credit hours. Okay. Now, if you're a psych major, how do you find out, what you need to do in terms of coursework for these different concentrations? Go to the website. I have the link here. This is a psychology site for the university. There's going to be 2 sets of documents that are going to be really helpful. The first set of documents are going to be concentration checklists. So here, this is the concentration checklist for people who want to be in the mental health services concentration for psychology. So there's going to be certain required courses that everyone in that concentration has to take. We have here, what semesters it's offered, the number of credit hours. Then there's different groups of courses where you just choose one from that group. So you can print out these checklists to make sure that you're meeting all the criteria for concentration. And then we also, the other sets of documents that are going to be really helpful are these degree plans. Most departments should have these. We have degree plans for all the different concentrations, and this gives you a general plan of when you should take the various core and major courses. I mean, you don't have to follow this necessarily to the T, but it's just a good general guideline of when to take things. So, we have here for the mental health services degree plan, take your English class, oral expression, intro, your language course, and your TRS course. Your first semester, your freshman year, second semester of your freshman year, take some more of your core courses, take PS 190, second of your language, and so on and so forth. So this is a good general guide of, what you should be doing at different time points in your education. Some general tips for a psychology major. If you only remember 3 things from today, remember this. First is to take Data 122, which is elementary statistics, as early as you can. That course is not only needed for the psychology major, it also counts for your core quantitative analysis requirement. It's also a prerequisite for intermediate statistics, which is Data 260. So all psychology majors have to take 2 statistics courses, the Data 122 elementary statistics, and then the Data 260 intermediate statistics. You have to take both of those, and they're in sequence, right? So take those as early as you can. Take both Data 122 and Data 260 as early as you can, because we have this sort of hallmark experimental design and analysis course that all psychology majors take or have to take. And in order to get into that class, which is 301, you have to have both those stats courses. So the earliest possible time you could take 301 is when, assuming you didn't transfer in any credits? Beginning of your sophomore year. That's the earliest possible, right? Because you got to take Data 122, and then the next semester Data 260, and then you could take 301. Now 301 is has to do with research, which is incredibly important if you're going to be applying to graduate school. So that's why you want to take that as early as possible, because we have additional research opportunities with PS 401 advanced research, and then PS 499, which is where you work one-on-one with a faculty member, and both of those have, as a prerequisite, 301. So to get started on research early, if you're thinking about particularly PhD programs, you need to take the stats courses early and 301 early. Okay. All right. If you haven't done that, it's okay. It'll all be all right. All right, questions? Maximizing the impact of your courses. So what I am going to propose to you all is that you be thoughtful when you choose your courses that you sign up for, that you register for. Be thoughtful about how it might influence your career opportunities. There's at least 3 ways in which your courses could be relevant to your careers. One is by taking high impact courses that you can talk about in a cover letter for a job or graduate school as being relevant, particularly relevant, minors and double majors. So starting first with high impact courses, there's courses within the psychology department that are going to be really good talking points for your cover letters, for your interviews. Some example of psychology electives, Psych of Prejudice, taught by Dr. Yost, who is also like awesome as a professor, so highly recommend that. Not that they're not all awesome, but Yost is particularly sweet. Industrial organizational psychology, study of business psychology, multicultural, child and adolescent psychopathology, our practicum, that you, these field practica where you're actually working at, part-time, a partner site, doing real world things. That's going to be very relevant. And then advanced research projects with PS 401 and 499. Even if you don't go into a career that's relevant to research, and even if you don't go to a PhD program, these research projects, you can investigate whatever you want as it relates to psychology, and you can really tie it into future job applications, graduate school applications, etc. And it shows a lot of initiative, and most undergraduate colleges don't have this level of commitment to undergraduate research, so you have a lot of opportunity here to maximize your curriculum. Questions? right. In terms of the psychology major, 2 minors pretty easily. What are minors to consider? Different languages, particularly Spanish, communications, statistics, particularly if you want to go to graduate school for a PhD program. Statistics will be a great minor. Writing, relevant to a lot of different things. Philosophy, it's only 12 extra credit hours and shows you'll learn critical thinking skills there. Political science has a foreign affairs minor. Business is 27 credits for psychology majors to complete the business minor. Entrepreneurship, start your own business. You have a great opportunity to learn about that here from some really strong faculty. They have a special program. Has anyone heard about the entrepreneurship program? Probably not, right? They have this special program for students who are in the arts and sciences, so not Bowler people, but arts and sciences people, where they teach you about entrepreneurship, special for arts and sciences. Really good minor, and then we have leadership, pretty relevant. Majors, psychology is one of the lesser credit hour majors, so it makes it a good fit for double majoring. Here's a link to some majors that you should consider. And here's some majors with relatively low credit hours that might pair well with psychology. Spanish, communications, data science. Data is like the future. Technology and data are becoming more and more relevant to our lives, and having skills in data science are going to be huge. So I definitely suggest you consider data science, double major of data science and psychology. Philosophy, if you're thinking about going to law school, if you don't really know what you want to do, but you're super ambitious and you want to get paid well, lawyer's a good option. And psychology is actually the number 2 most popular major for people that go to law school. And you could pair that with something like philosophy, which is like the best major you could have to go into law school, or also political science. All right, so we have these 3 ways in which your curriculum potentially influence your career. So write down what high impact courses, minors, double majors appeal to you, and then also whether or not it's feasible to add those in. All right. Extracurricular opportunities. These are going to be really important. Extracurriculars, they set you apart, right? Everyone has curriculum, but those extracurriculars, those experiences you have set you apart in your applications. They're also good for exploring your interests in different things and for getting good letters of recommendation, because through these extracurriculars you get to know people on a more personal level who could be your letter writers. Some good options at JCU that we'll talk about: Psychology Club, internships, Handshake, and the Center for Service and Social Action. So first, and Psychology Club. Psychi is a National Honor Society for psychology majors. These are the requirements: psychology major or minor with at least 9 credit hours and a 3.4 GPA. So they have events and things like and meetings where you get to know people. I think Dr. Ben Porth is the faculty leader of Psychi. She's a psychology person. Psychology Club is open to all students, regardless of whether you're a major or minor. Dr. Masterson, I think it's Dr. Masterson, is the head of that. She this past year she was the colloquiate. She won the teaching award here at John Carroll. So really good teacher, really nice person, good person to get to know. And these organizations also have leadership roles, and again can help you make connections with faculty. There's an internship binder that is in the main office, the psychology department main office. Just ask our administrative assistant, Ruta, to see the internship binder. It has a lot of amazing JCU internships in it, but you have to go and look at the binder because we're not like online fully. So look at the binder, you'll find some stuff. We have a lot of different internships for mental health services, lots of autism related things. If you're into autism, we're like a hotbed for autism service. So definitely check that out. The Cleveland Clinic Pediatric Pain Rehabilitation Program, there's been a couple students who have gone through there and actually got work published with people from that program, so they're big into research, the pediatric pain program. Child and family studies, anything that you can do with like Cleveland Clinic, university hospitals in this area is going to look very good and help build your connections with people, letter writers, etc. Again, tons of autism internships. Yeah, if you're into that at all, definitely check this out. We also have Dr. Frazier, who's new to the faculty. He was the Chief Science Officer at Autism Speaks, this major nonprofit. He's very well respected in this field. So between him and Dr. Masterson, who runs the internships, autism is really, we got that. Industrial organizational behavior, we have some internships there with local organizations. Forensic psychology. There's also an internship that people do oftentimes who are interested in forensics at the prosecutor's office, Coward County Prosecutor's Office. That's a good one too. There's an internship binder that is in the main office, the psychology department main office. Just ask our administrative assistant, Ruta, to see the internship binder. It has a lot of amazing JCU internships in it, but you have to go and look at the binder because we're not like online fully. So look at the binder, you'll find some stuff. Center for Service and Social Action, I cannot recommend, I highly recommend it, can't recommend it anymore. John Carroll is amazing at service, with whatever it is, 3,500 undergraduate students. We do more hours of service than Ohio State, which is tens of thousands of undergraduate students. And our Center for Service and Social Action, which is in administration building, is a well-oiled machine. They'll get you, they'll give you transportation to the site and manage everything. All you have to do is go there and tell them the types of experiences you're interested in, and they'll find something for you to do. And these experiences are great. Students always say, oh, I need to get an internship, or I need an internship so I can go to a good school or get a job. No, you don't necessarily need an internship. What you need are experiences. And a great way to get experiences is through the Center for Service and Social Action. So I've had students who have gone down to St. Vincent Charity Hospital. They have a detox unit for people with substance use problems, and they've been on that unit. That is amazing experience that's hard to come by. And they got it through CSSA, so definitely recommend it. It doesn't need to be a huge time commitment either. It can be, I think on average, it's like 3 hours a week or something like that, time commitment. So it's nothing crazy. All right, so keeping all this in mind, take a moment and write down which service experiences appeal to you. And then we also have streamlined graduate admission programs that not a lot of people, that aren't widely advertised. So we have what's called a 3-2 program with Case Western's Master's in Social Work program. A 3-2 means you do 3 years of undergraduate followed by 2 years of graduate. So typically a Master's in Social Work is going to take 2 to 2.5 years. So what you have here is 3 years of undergrad here at Carroll, 2 years at Case Western. Some of that Case Western coursework counts towards your undergraduate degree. So overall, you're spending 5 years to get your schooling as opposed to 6, with like a typical 4-2, 4 years of undergrad, 2 of in a master's program. We also have a 3-3 dual admission program with Case Western Law School, where law school's 3 years, undergrad's 4 years, but with this, you only do 3 years in undergrad of coursework. So it shaves a year off your undergrad and gets you admission into Case. There's a 5th-year MBA program with the John Carroll Bowler Business School. Normally, MBAs are 2 years, but if you do certain coursework at Carroll, business coursework, which fits really well with the IO, Industrial Organizational Psychology concentration, if you do this coursework, you can just do an extra year and get your MBA from Bowler, which is a really good program. It's also relatively cheap, the 5th-year MBA. It's like $10,000 extra, which is not much for a graduate program in an MBA. And you'll make more than I do, so that's good too. I mean, real. There's also an accelerated admissions program where anyone who has 3.3 by their cumulative GPA at the beginning of their senior year gets automatically admitted to our master's program here in clinical mental health counseling. So that is an option. Okay, so with that, any questions about these programs? Okay, so go ahead and reflect on whether or not any of these interest you. And if so, are you committed to getting more information about them and why? So this is in your packet.